Hello, good afternoon. This is Marta Octavia from SPI. I would like to ask to all attendees if you can hear me. If yes, you can inform us from the chat. Okay, thank you very much for the information. We will start the webinar at 2 sharp, so let's wait 1 more minute. Thank you very much. Okay, we will start the webinar right now. Thank you very much for all the attendees. We would like to welcome to the VTT webinar, Innovations from Research. This webinar is a part of the virtual training courses from the VTT project, a project funded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program that will promote research, innovations, development, and deployment in the fields of advanced functional materials and nanotechnology, particularly in paper electronics. My name is Marta Octavia from SPI, and I am the moderator of today's webinar. Today's webinar will be aimed to give examples of technology commercializations from VTT perspective and to understand the importance of the foreseen and users perspective as well. This webinar will have maximum duration of approximately 1.5 hours, including the questions and answers. And our guest speaker today is VTT Technical Research Center of Finland experts and team research leader, Dr. Maria Smolander. In case you have questions related to the webinar or the technical difficulties during this webinar, please send them during the presentations via the chatting. And then your questions related to the webinar will be answered at the end of the session. Before we started, let me introduce the profile of our speaker today, Dr. Maria Smolander. She is a research team leader of the Flexible Sensors and Devices Research Team, which is part of the Sensing and Integration Research area. She is responsible for the leadership and operation of the team. Maria Smolander gained her PhD from the Helsinki University of Technology in 1995. Part of her PhD thesis was done during international research exchange periods to University of Cambridge, Technical University of Munich, and University of Lund. During her PhD thesis, she also had a position of the research assistant in the Academy of Finland. Maria Smolander is a certified IPMA-C project manager and has been involved as project manager or WP leader in several EU and national projects dealing with functional solutions and power sources for different applications. Through her active role in EU projects, she has wide international contacts with universities and research institutes. She has also been involved as the project owner or project manager in several development projects with industrial customers. She has contributed 38 scientific papers in peer-reviewed journals and several patent applications. Her H index is 20 Scopus or 23 Google Scholar. She has 54 presents in scientific conferences and 6 granted patents and additional patent application families. She is also a member of VTT's patent team for flexible electronics and biosensors. So without further ado, I would give the time to Maria to present today's webinar.
Okay, thank you, Martha. I will show my screen first. Can you see my screen eventually? If not, yes. Please let me know.
Yes, we can see your screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm Maria Smander indeed, and very nice that you were able to join this webinar. So, my idea is to give you some views of how to make innovations from research, and I will be focusing on, of course, on VTT, but in particular for printed intelligence cases. And in this presentation, I will first describe VTT a little bit in general, and then I will go into some examples, especially related to printed intelligence and related topics. So let's move on with the presentation. Okay. So at VTT, our vision is really to create innovations through science-based innovations, which will make our future brighter. So that's the big vision. And we are indeed one of the leading research institutes in Europe, very multidisciplinary and already quite old. We have been around already from 1942. And currently we are almost 2,400 people working at VTT, and very typically the education level at VTT is high. About 1/3 of our employees have a doctoral or licentiate degree, and the income about 260 million euros annually. And what is also quite typical for VTT is that we are very, very international, and more than 1/3 of our income comes from abroad. And also, I will talk a little bit more actually about the ownership. That is also something to pay attention to. So basically, if we think VTT as a research institute, we are somewhere between the universities and the industry. So even at VTT, the research which is carried out, there is some research which is indeed very basic, and some research which is very close to that done by the industry. But typically, we are there like between the industrial product development work and the basic research carried out at the universities, and I would say that we form a bridge between the academic research and the product development by the industry. And of course, we collaborate a lot with both the universities as well as with the industry. So I already briefly mentioned about the ownership of VTT. So this is something which we should pay attention to. So we are not under the Ministry of Education and Culture as the universities and as the Academy of Finland, but we are under Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment. So this means that we have a very strong role in the innovation ecosystem of Finland, and we are under the same ministry as Business Finland, which is actually our main national funding body. Like in European level, we have the EU and the Horizon programs, but on national level, we have this Business Finland, which has the same role. And of course, part of our funding also comes from the Academy of Finland as well. So we can move forward a little bit. So this slide is illustrating in a very compact form how we operate at VTT. So basically, our strategy is kind of guided by our lighthouses, which are really focusing on the big and huge challenges. Like I mentioned, we are really the vision is that we are making the future better. So we have really tackled the big challenges like climate actions, resource sufficiency, good life of the citizens, safety and security, and also the industrial renewal. And basically all the work what we are carrying out is somehow aiming to solve these big challenges partially. And work what we are carrying out that takes place in partially in public projects, which are carried out in partnerships with universities and other research institutes. And in these public projects, we are indeed increasing our competencies, and we are learning, and we are publishing, and we are indeed laying the foundation to the more commercial work which we are carrying out together with our international and Finnish customers. And indeed, in these projects, we exploit the competencies which are developed in the public project. So basically, we are always looking for the impact to the companies and also to these big challenges. So the work carried out at VTT is divided into 3 business areas in our organization. So I come from the business area called Knowledge Intensive Products and Services. And in this business area, we are working with different sensing technologies, integration, fabrication of the sensors and other intelligent devices, connectivity, different radio systems, data-driven solutions, artificial intelligence. Also, we have the National Meteorology Institute is part of us, and we have here the very quite impressive micronova manufacturing services for silicon, focusing on silicon processes. Then we have one business area which is for smart industry and energy systems, and in this business area they are working with life cycle solutions, nuclear safety, energy and transport, smart cities, digital engineering, and also business innovations. And the third one is called Solutions for Natural Resources and Environment, and this is very much focused on the natural materials, which I would say most of them come from the forest based resources, which is quite natural as we are talking about Finland, and in Finland the forest industry is very strong, but it's not totally restricted to this area, but it is very important. And in this business area, indeed, different biotechnology and food solutions are studied, and also the biomass processing and products are developed, and the bio-based energy is in this business areas. But of course, it's very typical for VTT that we collaborate between the different business areas. And in one project, we can indeed have, like, it can be managed, like, for instance, from our business area, knowledge intensive products and services. But then we have some experts from this natural resources for instance, a very short time, or for a certain specific need. So we always like build the project group according to the needs and not according to our internal organization, but it can really be experts from various parts of VTT. Then I will open a little bit this money side or the budget side. So VTT is a governmental research organization, and we get about 1/3 of our budget, a little bit less than 1/3, from direct government grant, and our net turnover from external sources is about 180 million euros annually. And where does that come from then? That is illustrated in this slide. So we have from domestic private sector about 1/3, domestic public sector another third, and then from foreign sources, either from public or private sector, the last third of the incomes comes from foreign sources. Then a little bit about our research projects, what kind of projects we have. I already have been mentioned a little bit about this division of the public projects and the commercial projects. So indeed, with commercial projects, we mean something what we are carrying out directly with the industry, and they do not involve the public funding, and in most cases they are confidential. And in these projects we are indeed exploiting our know-how, what is generated in the public projects. And then the main, like the biggest portion of the public projects are the jointly funded projects, typically funded by the European Commission, the Horizon programs, or also by Finnish Academy or this Business Finland, which I mentioned earlier. And these always involve not just VTT as a research partner, but also other universities and research organizations, and also in jointly funded projects, companies are of course involved in different roles. And I think these are very, very important projects from the point of the exploitation of the research results, because here we can get the discussion going on with the industry, and we will find out about the needs in the real life, not just within VTT, but so that we really hear that what is needed outside us. But then in addition to these jointly funded projects, we also have a little bit self-financed projects, and these are really directly on those areas which we think that, okay, this is a very important new opening and we need to put some money to this area, and that's really often to start something new, and it can, but still, even if it's new, it can still aim to pretty, let's say, close to the final needs, and indeed solving these big challenges. Still, the aims can be pretty close to the actual application. So this is maybe not so relevant for this presentation now, this slide, but just to mention a little bit that what kind of services VTT is providing for the commercial customers. So it's indeed the technology partnership with the customers, which is of course a very, very good way to be aware that what is really needed, and really great that in some cases a good customership has been formed formed with a industrial company, but this is not, of course, always possible. Then we have different types of other services like technology and business foresights, research, product and service development, which is, I think, the most typical way to collaborate with the companies. And then we also are creating IPR, and we can license this out or sell this out to the customers, and also do some testing services on behalf of the customers. Then a little bit about the VTT's customers in general. So we have a huge amount of customers. We have almost as many customers as what we have employees at VTT. We had 2,400, and we have about 1,500 customers. And of these, majority is domestic companies, 900 or so, but also we have a lot of foreign companies as our customers, and also public organizations in Finland and abroad as well. So the different customer segments have been shown here according to the sales revenue, and in energy sector, typically the projects are very large, and that forms a very big portion of the sales revenue. Electronics is also important. Biotechnology, machines, ICT, forest industry, chemistry, they are the most important customer segments what we have. So quite variable, as you can see. Then I mentioned this IPR already earlier, and this is very important activity for VTT. So we currently have over 300 patent families, and most of these families, they have more than one patent or patent application related to those. And also we have a invention disclosure process, and this is in practice, it is taking place so that each time when you make an invention, you need to make this invention disclosure, and then either VTT is kind of acquiring it or not, and really depends on the project where it is, where it happens, who will then own this IPR, which is potentially generated based on the invention disclosure. So and here you can see also some numbers regarding the investments annually. Bit less than 2 million euros, and the revenue is not extremely high, because in not, of course, from all the patents you get the revenue, and it is also quite expensive to maintain the patents. So we always, of course, every now and then review the patents and see that what to do with them. So we are, like I mentioned earlier, we are licensing and also selling this IPR to external companies, but we also have VTT Ventures, and this is like a VTT company inside VTT, which is generating and developing the spin-offs which are based on VTT's technology. And these are indeed based on the VTT VTT IPR. Not every IPR is resulting to a spin-off company, and not all the startups which kind of come from VTT, they are not VTT spin-offs, but here we mean with VTT spin-off a company where VTT Ventures has invested money. And in 2016, I have some numbers from that year here. For instance, 4 new spin-offs were established, and 22 companies were in the portfolio. And on that year, these companies managed to raise about 18 million euros altogether, whereas the VTT Ventures invested about 3 million euros. So the external funding is much higher than the VTT Ventures investment to these spin-off companies. But this is very nice way to kind of give a boost to these spin-off companies in their early phase. So in this slide we have some examples of the spin-offs which have been established during the last 5 years. So and these are actually quite many of these also have something to do with the knowledge intensive products and services business area, and even with the printed and hybrid manufacturing technologies. So the focal spec is about optical non-contact measurements of surface structures. Then we have minima processor, low energy processors. Tactotec has been doing very well. If you Google this company from the internet, you can see that they have been really doing well, and it's about structural electronics, the printed circuit, assembled components, and overmolding to a certain form. And I will actually have a little bit more detailed structure about this Tactotec in later phase. Then we have Dispelix, and that is about the wearable smart glasses made in a compact form. GrainSense is about measuring the grain quality. Askella is a security system, terahertz imaging especially for security purposes. Spectral Engines is also doing very well, and they have received a lot of Horizon funding, Horizon prizes. They are doing miniaturized spectral solutions, spectrometers, for instance, for food composition, but any other analytes as well. Helme Imaging, also optical inspection, and Iskent is producing nanoscale embossed optical effects, which are like holograms, but they don't involve any use of metal, so they can be realized on plastic and paper surfaces. So these are among the nicely doing spin-offs of VTT, and of course when you start a spin-off, it's always, you never know whether it will fly or not, but many of VTT companies have been quite lucky in that sense. So maybe one reason why it has been quite the transition from the research to this to the exploitation of the research results has been rather smooth, is that VTT has very impressive R&D infrastructure, and we have a lot of pilot facilities, so related to printed intelligence, We have a PRINTOCENT pilot factory for printed electronics and other printed functionalities, and also the hybrid systems. Then we have one for the production of biotechnical products, the biotechnology and food research pilot that contains a lot of fermenters here in Espoo. By the way, I forgot to say that this PRINTOCENT is located in Oulu, about 700 kilometers from the capital area. And this biotechnology pilot environment is here in Espoo. Also the Bioruukki, which is focusing on the bioeconomy and the use of biomaterials, for instance, for the energy production. In this building where I am located here in Espoo, we have the clean room facility for silicon processing, the Micronova. Then, okay, maybe I could still mention this research environment for fiber processes, which is located in Jyväskylä in central Finland. And here the idea is to develop new products which are based on the forest industry, from the raw materials from forests. So this is quite, I'd say, unique at VTT to have such impressive pilot facilities. Then I will go quickly to the printed intelligence and what we mean with that. So basically, indeed, the combination of the manufacturing methods from electronics industry and paper industry together with the different functionalities. So mainly we are talking about diagnostic applications, large area sensors, smart packaging, flexible displays and lighting, and the structural electronics. And there is one example in the box here in the slide, the Flex in Glass. So one of the spin-offs of VTT is called FlexBrite, and they are producing this flexible bendable lighting, which is based on the integration of the LEDs to printed circuit, as you can see in the picture here. And that of course can be applied in very many different applications, and one example is shown on the photo on the right, where this kind of LED matrix has been incorporated inside glass, and this is the window of a bus, so it will be still very light structure and good visibility, and you can have like a signage incorporated into the glass with this method. So then a little bit about this PRINTOCENT. This is an innovation center, and the main role of this innovation center is to accelerate the commercialization of printed intelligence. And I think this has indeed been a very important how to say it, ecosystem or community, which has indeed very much supported the establishment of the different spin-off companies around the printed and hybrid electronics, and this is really a community and initiated by VTT, and it's very much focused around our pilot facility, the pilot facility for the printed intelligence fabrication, but it's not just VTT. There is also University of Oulu and University of Applied Sciences in Oulu and Business Oulu, and a lot of member companies as well. So currently 44 member companies, and also a lot of spin-off companies have arisen from this PRINTOCENT, and it's really how would I say, a living community. Every other year there is a like industry seminar which is open to everybody, and the companies are there talking about that, what kind of technologies they are offering, but there are also companies who are talking about their needs in the field. And then the member companies, they are gathering together every now and then, and also discussing on how to bring this topic forward. And also every summer there is a PRINTOCENT InnoFest, where the research organizations take part, not just the member research organizations, but the others are, or anyone is welcome. And also the companies are also always very active in this InnoFest, and basically in groups you kind of elaborate certain ideas and then pitch it a couple of times, and then these are really elaborated, the ideas. So it's very communicative community, and indeed a true ecosystem of companies and the researchers. And I think also it has been doing very well, and a big thanks, of course, to Ilkka Kaisto, who has been a director of this PRINTOCENT Innovation Center, but of course also to the remarkable pilot facility which is available for this ecosystem. So in this slide you can see who are the current members here, the industrial clusters. So there are some really small companies, then a little bit bigger SMEs, small and medium size enterprises, and also large scale enterprises. Some of those are also members of this cluster. And at the moment we are right now building a new phase of PRINTOCENT, and we'll see then what will be the focus areas for the starting period of PRINTOCENT. Then I will go a little bit to the history of this printed intelligence at VTT. So the first projects were started already over 20 years ago, 1995, and first pilot line was established 2003, this Pico pilot scale printing line. And already before that, a decision was made that at VTT we will specialize in reel-to-reel or roll-to-roll manufacturing of printed intelligence. And then 2006, the whole research area was dedicated to this topic, printed intelligence, and then quite soon this PRINTOCENT was established. And in the first phase the pilot plant was really being built, and in addition to this first line we now have like several other reel-to-reel production lines as well. And this was really like the first 3 years, the building of this infrastructure. And then in the second phase indeed the industrial ecosystem was very nicely built, and also a lot of focus has been put to the hybrid assembly during this time, because when the work was started, the original idea was more or less that everything would be printed, but then kind of it became quite evident that we also need some hybrid integration as well in order to fulfill the requirements of the end user applications and of those of the industry. And okay, then indeed the business cases have been now built then in the two recent years. And related to the infrastructure, very big role in the European regional development funding. That has been very, very important. Okay, then a few cases. Like I already mentioned, this Tactotech. You can check it then afterwards if you're interested in this. But indeed, the whole idea here is that thanks to this structural electronics developments, it is possible to create lighter and thinner and also very durable products. And the main application for this company and the structural parts produced in this company are in automotive industry, as you can easily figure out that in that industry the weight has a very, very big role, and it's very, very important from the fuel consumption point of view to be able to produce as light structures as possible. And indeed, this year this company has been growing. The size of the company has been doubled during this year. So they are really commercializing this let's say VTT initiated manufacturing technologies very, very nicely. Then a totally different example is promileless, a disposable alcohol test that has actually nothing to do with printed electronics, but printed functionalities. And this is not a VTT spin-off, but it has been part of this PRINTOCENT already a while, and this test has been developed together with VTT. And the idea here is to print biochemical reagents on a very cost-efficient in a very cost-efficient way to this flexible substrate, and the production method is indeed very, very easily upscalable, and that enables a wide distribution of the test and also very efficient pricing of the test. And basically in Finland you can almost in any supermarket you can buy this test, so it is available there. And the idea is indeed that you are able to check, for instance, if you have been having wine on a previous night, so you can test on the next morning that if you are able to drive or not, or should you go by bus or by bike. So that's the idea of the test. Then another example of a test is a test for toxic cyanobacteria, and this is a concept which was studied by VTT together with University of Turku, and we created a prototype of the test in a public research project. funded by Business Finland, and we had a test card like this, and it is based on the paper-based fluidic channels, and this was we gave out some press releases on this technology in summer 2016, and the Finnish company Salofa, they saw that, and they were interested in this concept, and actually last summer they launched a commercial test. It doesn't look exactly the same as here. They have a little bit different layout of the test, and also the building blocks are a little bit different, but they really have taken some parts of the test to their commercial product, and they launched this product. And indeed this idea came when they saw this press release, and now already this year in the shops you could buy this test in certain shops where people go and buy different do-it-yourself stuff, for instance for their summer houses, and the idea here is that with this test you can reveal if the water in the lake contains toxic cyanobacteria, which might prevent your swimming. And as this is in Finland, even if our summers are not that warm, we still have this problem of toxic cyanobacteria accumulating to the lakes and also to the Baltic Sea because of the low salt content of the water. So that was one example. Then I have a couple of other examples which are not really printed examples, but quite interesting also from that perspective, as they are exploiting the bio-based materials. One of the VTT spin-off companies is Paptic, who is combining the fiber-based materials together with a little bit of polymeric materials from different sources, and the idea here is to reduce the consumption of plastic materials, as we all know that currently there is a lot of discussion on how the microplastics are polluting the oceans, and this is one way to reduce the use of plastics and in the bags which you get from the shop when you buy something, and also these bags they feel and look very nice as well, in addition to that they are more environmentally friendly than the plastic bags. Then also at VTT work is done in order to fully replace the petroleum-based plastics with corresponding materials which are fully based on the use of renewable and natural raw materials, like there is a cellulose-based material which indeed looks and performs like plastic, but it's still fully bio-based and it actually has good barrier properties, which has so far been an issue with the bio-based materials, that they are too hydrophilic. But here the researchers at VTT have managed to make some tricks to increase or improve the barrier properties of the material, so that it can be really used for food packaging, and this could then from its part also be used to replace the currently used plastic materials in the market. So these were quite briefly some examples of what we have been developing at VTT. and here are some more along the way, from the artificial coffee in the wartime to the printed solar cells, and also a cultivation board for plant cells, and flexible bendable electronics, and so on. But this was my presentation, and I would like to thank you for listening, and also I suppose it is possible to have some questions now if you want to ask something, but thank you from my side.
Thank you very much, Maria, for the interesting explanation and presentations of the commercializations in VTT. It is very insightful information from all of us. And I have one question come up to us. I will read it one, and then for the others attendees, if you have any question, please do send us the questions in the chat box. Okay, so the questions is, what are the challenges in applying or registering the patent during the commercializations process? So Maria, if the question is clear.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Yeah, I think that yeah, the biggest problem is of course that it seems that now almost everything has been invented already. No, the big things. So it's in many cases it's quite in order to get to really have something new, it's quite often a little bit like you need to restrict the claims. You have to be very specific. I think that is one challenge, and it's not really easy to file a patent on any more on like big matters. So there is a lot of patents around already, and you need to be aware of them. But luckily we have here at VTT we have a IPR department, and they are helping to find out that what is the current status of the patents. And of course you need to be very well aware that what is taking place in the world or outside your own university or research company or company.
All right. Thank you very much for the answer. Is there any other questions from the floor? All right. Since we did not receive any more questions at the moment, but however it is, if you have any other questions, particularly in these commercializations of innovations research at VTT, I believe you could also ask directly to Dr. Maria in this case. Is that all right, Maria?
Of course.
Okay, all right. So if there are no other questions, I have some piece of information to all participants. So this webinar has been recorded from the beginning. So you will receive also a small survey after this session. We appreciate your answer to it. And for also in the coming days, we will send around the presentation slide of the webinar as well as the recording. And is there anything you would like to add, Maria, before we close the session?
No, thank you for joining, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you very much, and I wish everybody also a very good Christmas. We thank you very much for everyone who joined today's webinar, and also thank you, Maria. I would like to say goodbye and see you next time in the next webinar. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.